network because every life is a biography.
Biography returns to the life of Soupy Sales.
And you've got it all wrong. See, it's friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ear.
All right.
Yeah.
There you are, but be sure to have them back by 6. I want to listen to some hi-fi.
You get out of here.
It was in 1961 in Los Angeles when Soupy Sales kicked off his local primetime show. It soon became the toast of the town, generating more fan mail for station KABC than all of the network shows combined. In 1962, when the show went network on Friday nights, Soupy's new national audiences loved to watch as the Hollywood elite lined up to be hit with the Soupy Sales pie.
The stagecoach went from St. Louis to El Paso in 10 days without wheels? Yeah. Well, what held it up? Bandits.
As ratings soared, a remarkable family was forming behind the scenes. An extraordinary personal chemistry was building between Soupy and his crew.
There was a special kind of wildness and spontaneity about him, and we all fell into it.
We got along great. The crew was part of the show. They got fan mail. And you couldn't ask for a better situation.
The audience for the show was basically the crew. And Soupy related to the crew.
I mean, we had guys behind camera laughing, and stagehands and stuff. So that was our audience, which is really the greatest audience you could have anyway. Make them laugh, you're in business.
Partially due to the chemistry and the stress, and partly due to the fact that they were all just a little crazy, practical jokes became a matter of practice on the show.
That was the great thing. He never knew what was going to happen. He never knew what we were going to do. And we never knew what he was going to do. So it was, it was kind of a challenge thing.
I think one of the reasons people loved him was it was innovative. You never knew what was going to happen. Totally unexpected stuff happened there.
It was one of these unexpected events which has provided one of television's most classic outtakes.
I was supposed to be out front working with the dogs, doing different dances. And there would be a woman scream, and I would go to the door, and you'd look down and see a pair of women's shoes pulled by catgut that you can't, followed by a pair of men's shoes and what we call a blackout. And so I'm working out front with the dog, and I hear the scream. I go to the door, I look down, I don't see the shoes, and I look up, and I see the naked man. And I go, because I had a heart attack. I went, my God, there goes my career, my family, my whole life. Because I saw on the monitor they were shooting, and I thought it was live. So I walked back out, and it was so funny, I'm laughing because there were no cameramen or engineers. They're all around the back taking pictures. They'll ask me today, was she naked all over? You know what? I don't know, because I never went past the top of her because I was just mortified. I was just in shock.
Although fan mail was pouring in and his ratings were at their peak, the business of television was changing. Always looking at the bottom line, the networks began buying syndicated shows rather than incurring the cost of producing the programs themselves. As a result, Soupy was canceled.
I think a lot of times it's good for everybody to get fired once in a while because it takes you out of a realm of that feeling of security where you feel like you're content and you don't want to do anymore and that you're happy doing it, and you all of a sudden you start to get a little sloppy.
Although he was off the air, Soupy still carried star status. His personal appearances broke attendance records at shopping centers and auditoriums, but he was far from happy.
Well, I went through everything I'd saved for 2 years. I'd saved everything. I'd saved money, but you're not working, you spend twice as much. I could not get a job. I could not get any work. And I knew I had to make that move. I didn't want to go back to Detroit.
As if on cue, the phone rang. It was New York calling.
And one night I got a phone call from Soupy, and he said, Frank, I'm coming to New York. I said, Soupy, they'll love you here. They'll love you.
On Monday, September 5th, 1964, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, New Yorkers were witness to the premiere of the Soupy Sales Show.
I want to say very big, and I hope everybody's feeling good today. Everybody feel good today?
Every weekday afternoon, the Big Apple was tuning in.
Mr. Christian!
Mr. Christian reporting for duty, sir.
Soon, the town embraced Soupy as one of their own.
People thought of him as one of themselves. In other words, he was a star, yes, but he was an approachable star. He had that homey quality that people identified with, and I think that was partly responsible for that whole cult thing.
Who waxed the floor?
Along with all of the familiar elements of the show that Soupy and his crew had perfected over the years, the New York show introduced some new material, a weekly slapstick tribute to the suspenseful cliffhanger movie serials, which Soupy used to thrill to as a child.
I'd always wanted to do a takeoff on a serial, so I made one, Philo Kvetch. So we're going to do one show how a serial ends with a cliffhanger. And we did it, and we got so much reaction, we did it the next week. Well, that got to be so popular, we did 39.
Soupy Sales and his show became the toast of New York, so popular that even Frank Sinatra, the chairman of the board, Sammy Davis Jr., and Trini Lopez paid a visit to Chez Bippy for a bite to eat.
That's the rudest hat check girl I ever did meet my whole life. We came in, gave her our hats and coats, and I also gave her a Picasso. She didn't even give me a claim check.
What check, girl?
It was a meal that would explode into a riot.
Hey, you can't do that to my leader.
There's your leader.
No, there's your leader.
We did the sketch, and sure enough, as I remember, there was like 75 pies. The studio, it took hours to clean it up. It was like just totally destroyed. And it was one of the funniest moments I think I've ever, that may have run, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes before we edited it down. But it was hysterical.
On New Year's Day in 1965, Soupy Sales was at the very top of his craft when he decided to take a single lighthearted step over the edge with a joke. It was a seemingly harmless joke, but it would ignite a firestorm of controversy for which Soupy Sales is best remembered.
He had asked for the day off. I mean, who wants to work New Year's Day? And they said no, and he said, I'll take the show. They said, no, we want you to do it live. It was 5 minutes before 7, and we were doing the show in the evening. It was New Year's Day night, and we were in a commercial, and the director comes over to the car and says, when we come out, you're going to have a minute. What do you want to do? Well, I was writing all the shows, and I could save a bit for the next day. I would do it. So I said, I'll ad-lib something. So he knows I always work so close to the camera, closer than anybody else. So when it came out, I walked up to the camera and went, hey, kids, I said, last night was New Year's Eve, and your mom and dad were out having a good time. And it's only right because they work hard all year long. They're probably still in the bedroom sleeping. I said, what I want you to do is tiptoe in the bedroom, but don't wake them up. And you'll probably see your mom's pocketbook on the floor and your dad's pants, but don't wake them up. I said, I want you to go in your mom's pocketbook and your dad's pants, and you'll see a lot of green pieces of paper with pictures of guys with beards. I said, why don't you, what I want you to do is take those green pieces of paper and you put them in an envelope, and on the envelope you write, Soupy Sales, Channel 5, New York, New York, and you know what I'm going to send you? A postcard from Puerto Rico.
Nobody at the time really thought that much of it. It was just another, joke, one of Soupy's jokes.
To the management of WNEW-TV, the joke didn't seem quite so funny.
Now, some woman from New Jersey wrote a letter to the FCC and sent a copy to Metro Media. Said I was encouraging the kids to steal. Well, that's what freaked the station out. But you know what? The kids were really a lot hipper than anybody thought, because a lot of them sent Monopoly money. One day I walk in, they said, the executives want to see you upstairs.
They felt some sort of action had to take place, like a suspension or a fine or something. It was the first time that I could remember before or after anybody ever reacting to that kind of a situation, or somebody being suspended for something they said on a television show.
You got $2 or $3 we put in the Jerry Lewis canister for muscular dystrophy. Although I did get $1 from some 28-year-old girl said, I've seen your show, and you ought to go to Puerto Rico,
Biography will continue in a moment here on A&E.
Happy Holidays Week continues tomorrow on Biography with Shirley Temple Black. On Friday, The Three Stooges. And on Monday, Gilda Radner.